So Sammi, thank you very much for
You're
talking
welcome.
to us at the Linc. It's been a tough week, hasn't it, for the SU?
Yeah, it has, but I must admit today, although the topic of conversation is not great, that this is a problem for our students, but this is the first time in my nearly 5 years of being here that I've seen student activism like this, and in some ways I'm really proud that people have got up and they're standing up for what they believe in. And the problem that has resulted in them talking to this has been quite good. It's highlighted this is an issue for our students, and I think the message we want to get out to our students is myself and our exec team, we're the people that can make that change, and we really do want to listen to our students to find out how do they want to make this union better for freedom of speech, because the situation in question was nobody in that SU would ever try to stifle individuals' freedom of speech.
That's not how it's come across, isn't it? It seemed that way.
Yeah, and that is very much an unintended consequence of what has happened.
But you acknowledge the perception, though?
Yes, we do acknowledge that has been the perception, and that's gone out, and the SU would never want to stifle an individual's freedom of speech, and it's very it would be upsetting to see all of the great work that happens in the SU by me and my fellow officers to be overshadowed by that, because that would never be what we were trying to do. And it's raised an issue that this is an issue for students, and apparently has been an issue for a long period of time, and we are here today to say we're listening, we want to make those changes.
There's been a lot of criticism from national media. Carl McCartney's obviously had his say. He's likened the SU to the Soviet Union and North Korea in terms of oppressing free speech. What do you make of comments like that?
It's unfortunate that they've taken that stance, and I believe it's been taken because they haven't had the full aspects of the story and don't know all the details, and that's unfortunate because it is a matter of disciplinary that we can't go into all of the details that have happened. But I feel, and I understand why this has been spun in this way, but it isn't the truth of what we would ever intend to do, and it's just unfortunate that this has been the take that's gone, because that, as I keep repeating, would never be anything we would try to do, but yeah, that's how it's gone out, and that's what
And is it right that you don't want to comment on the Conservative Society issues specifically? Is that
no? Because the people in the disciplinary panel and the students know everything that's been involved, and it is matter.
So can I ask who made the initial decision, though?
Our disciplinary panel, which you can find all of the policies online of how that works.
Do you acknowledge that there may have been some mistakes in how this has all been handled, perhaps?
What I acknowledge is that the actions that were taken have had a very much unintended implications on stifling people's freedom of speech, which again would never be intended.
And what do you make about the protest today?
The protest, again, student activism. They're saying this is what this is a problem to us, and we want it changed. And it's like, hey, we're here, we're listening, and we hear you. And unfortunately, it's protesting against the SU, which I would never want. But I'm actually kind of proud of that organisation, that activism on our campus, because we don't really partake in that. So, and we are encouragers of free speech. So yes, all for them.
Now, you've been SU president for almost a year.
Yes.
The initial controversy started because the Conservative Society shared a report by Spike, the online magazine, which said that it gave the university as a whole a red rating on its approach to freedom of speech. It gave the SU a red, and the university an amber, and the institution as a whole a red. Obviously, I know that you're now saying that you want to make some changes, but why has it taken this to happen for you to perhaps recognise that there are in fact some issues? Stuff like this cropped up before. Why has it taken this long?
Well, I think this is the first time it's been brought to the forefront of our that this is a massive issue for students. There's been other things that have been brought throughout our year that have been things that we've been focusing on. Now this is like students actually, we want this change now. And yes, I do appreciate that it has been brought up in the past, and we are looking to change. That's all we can be asked to do, I feel.
And what do you think the consequences of this protest are? I know you were talking to the leaders of the protest. What's been discussed? What's going to happen now?
The leaders have wanted an ASM, all student members meeting, to be called as soon as possible, and we are looking in as we speak to try and make that happen. And we just want to create a forum where students can come talk to us in a constructive way and try and let's make some change together. And I think it's about realising the way that we do that. It's because it's done by talking and working with your elected officers. We are the ones that are in place until June, and we really want to help them make an impact before then. And if people come to this, which we will happily advertise as soon as we have got a confirmed date, we're open, we're there to listen.
And what do you define as bringing the SU into disrepute? That's one of the arguments that were put forward in order to ban the Conservative Society from social media and other individuals as well. What do you define as bringing the SU into disrepute?
I think this is something that we need to do some work on, and we need to make somebody raise that they want us to make sure that this is absolutely fundamentally clear, because people have been upset with it being open to discretion. And
so, are you unclear yourself?
No, I wouldn't say I'm unclear of what, but I think there are some things that could be considered subjective that we need to clear up, and we will be doing some work on that. Yeah.
I understand that you're looking and reviewing that, but in the past, what have you defined as bringing the SU into disrepute?
Things that hinder the reputation of the SU, things that are obviously illegal, things along those lines. Yeah.
So including criticism as well?
It's using the correct medium in which, because we cannot get better unless a student tells us so, and by all means we welcome that constructive criticism. It's just on those individual pages to do that. That's what we encourage, because we can't know everything that's happening in students' worlds unless they tell us.
And just to clarify, that's something you're looking at changing. Perhaps you're going to say that social media is in fact a correct way to bring up issues.
Social media is a brilliant tool in communicating with us. It's just where it's been used on individual people's pages to put forward criticism, then by all means. It's just things can be considered as bringing it into disrepute when they use pages that come under our name. Through the Charity Commission, we are held to account for those pages. So that's where it comes.
And finally, VSU's come under a lot of criticism. This has happened on your watch. What do you think personally about all of this?
Obviously, I feel I'm very upset that this has happened, because I know it's disheartened a lot of members of staff that sole purpose they come to work because they really do buy in to what we do to trying to better the student experience. And all I can say is that it will never stop me from always striving to do the best by the students, and we are still, as a team, even though we're coming to the end of our terms, committed to trying to better students, and we are here to listen.
And finally, what would you say to students, the whole student body, and also to individuals that maybe have certain issues with the SU and want to highlight them, and for those to change? What would you say to those people to try and reassure them that you aren't intolerant, you do support freedom of speech, and you don't just support those who agree with current SU policy?
Yeah, it's definitely not the case. We are disheartened by the things that have happened, and we would never wish any student to feel that we are trying to stifle the freedom of speech. That was never ever the intention, and we just want to say that we are still committed to listening to students. So if you have an issue, if you have a problem, you have criticism, come in, tell us. Our email addresses are available on the website to organise meetings to talk about this. We are not unreasonable people. We don't have some overloading agenda that we're trying to pass through. We generally got into this for good measures, and that's still there. And so we just really welcome that communications with students.
And I know I've said "and finally" a couple of times, but one very last question. Do you consider there to be a discord and a disharmony between Those that are elected, either full-time like yourselves or part-time officers, and permanent members of staff that run the SU all the time, is there a conflict of interest really between what they want and what elected members want for their students really?
No, working day to day in the SU, I know that our staff are so committed to supporting us as student leaders. I've worked since I was 13, and I've never worked in such a supportive organisation where it is very much, they offer us advice and guidance, but if we come in and say this is the idea that we want to do, they help put body to that vision, to that idea, and help us to make that happen. Our staff are incredibly dedicated to helping their student leader team to deliver what students tell us they want, and that's what we will carry on to do over the issues of freedom of speech.
Thank you very much, Sam. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.